So first of all, the burden of proof and the standard of proof. You need to be able to define what these concepts are, and they are different in the criminal and civil justice system. So you need to be able to state that difference. So the burden of proof is the obligation of a party to prove a case in court. Basically, which party has to prove that the other party did something wrong. Okay? So that's why it's called a burden. It's the burden that you have to prove someone did something wrong. So, as we can imagine, in the criminal justice system, the parties are the prosecution and the accused person, which is also referred to as the defendant. Okay? So, it makes sense that the prosecution, which is literally the state, the state's uh, hired lawyers and staff trying to prove you did something wrong. So the prosecution has the burden of proof because they're the ones with more power because, because they're literally the state trying to get someone put in jail. Um, and because they're the ones initiating a claim, basically. They're not exactly, it all happens with police and stuff, and the police charge the person, but in a nutshell, it makes sense. The prosecution, right, would have the burden of proof. As the accused person, I've been accused. Why would I have to prove that I'm innocent? Why would I have to have the burden of proof? That doesn't make any sense. So the prosecution has the burden of proof. Now, the standard of proof is the degree or extent to which a case must be proven in court. I never really like this definition. When I define standard of proof, I like to say something along the lines of the strength of evidence or the level of evidence that is required for the case to be successful or for the case to be proved in court. Okay, so the strength of evidence that is needed. And that's the standard. So if you connect burden to, oh, I have this obligation to prove that the accused is guilty, if you connect standard to, a high standard, the strength of evidence that is needed, maybe you can just make sense of these terms without having to rote learn anything. But it's beyond reasonable doubt in the criminal justice system. You need to be able to explain what that means as well. But basically, beyond reasonable doubt is a very, very high standard of proof. Um, and it means that there needs to be no doubt as to whether the accused is guilty whatsoever. No reasonable person, after seeing this whole trial, would still have room to doubt whether the accused person is guilty or not. Okay, they would all be convinced.